30 past every hour. I'll have one for you. $1,000 from the Buzzard bookie. If you are watching the program live at alancoxshow.com, thank you. And also thanks to Philip Welson, who is assisting in the video department back there. And your Cleveland Guardians are in Atlanta. They're going to be playing the Braves, who are a very good baseball team right now. That's going to be a good game if everybody plays to the best of their abilities. And that's, listen, that's all you can hope, that they just get out there and, boy, just give it their darned best. Give it their best shot. Give it the old college try, as they used to say. The Guardians and the Braves at 7:20 tonight. You'll hear that on the Buzzard and on the iHeartRadio app. So that pregame coverage gets going 30 minutes prior. And then tomorrow, big day of sports on MMS. You got that Cavs Game 4 against the Magic, licking their wounds from last night's game. 121-83 was the final there. So tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock, Cavs Magic. They will come back here for Game 5 on Tuesday. And I will have, you want to get your mitts on some last-minute playoff tickets, I will have those for you Tuesday afternoon. And then Guardians baseball tomorrow night. And then our metal show. If you're into metal, I host 2 hours to midnight, along with Corey Roddick and Pat Butler. And if the game doesn't go too long, we'll start right at 10. And if it does go long, we'll start immediately after. There's a guy, did you see the LSU baseball fan who took a 109-mile-per-hour missile right to the dome? This guy out there named Corey. I took a hit right to the skull. This guy's covered in LSU gear, and he's got the cap on, and he's got the pins on the cap, and he's a diehard fan. And he took one to the noggin, right out there, and I don't know where he's sitting.
I mean, it was on a rope, and I've been carrying this glove with me for years, and I was like, okay, now's my time. I got one coming, and hole in the glove, man. What can I say? It binged off my dome, and here we are. I've got a nice little goose egg.
Can we see it?
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to.
Does it hurt?
It don't feel good.
Does it hurt?
It don't feel good.
It felt like every bit of a 109-mile-an-hour fastball, home run ball, yes.
Did we get the ball
Oh,
afterwards?
God, it just bounced off his head.
Skipped over the fence, but Josh Pearson, man, he's such a great guy. He came to toss me their toss ball that they do in between innings, so he tossed it to me. I guess probably Friday I'll go get Tommy White to sign it for me and maybe kiss my Bobo.
Kiss my Bobo. Now, most people would say boo-boo. Maybe kiss my Bobo means something different. Maybe it's like, look, I got a head wound here. Now you got to get down here and kiss my Bobo. Imagine that. I'll tell you what I do like, though, when we were in Florida and watching a little bit of when LSU was playing Iowa, the Caitlin Clark-Angel Reese matchup, because LSU, obviously, Louisiana State University. I like how they're like Go Tigers thing. They spell it G-E-A-O-U-X, like the French, make it look French, go. I just think that's funny. I don't know if it rises to the level of clever, but I think it's funny. But poor Corey out there, yeah, he took one right. If you saw any of that slow motion, it just bounced off his head. And, hope he's okay.
How long's a piece of string, man?
Oh, they're like, how long have you been an LSU fan? How long's a piece of string? Now, I don't know what that means. I didn't get any of that Southern charm from my father. I don't know what all those pithy little comments are. How long's a piece of string? What does that mean? Like a string can be any length, right? What if I go, well, I got a piece of string in my pocket. I got a thread coming off my jeans.
Also, string's not measured in years.
Well, he's Louisiana, man. He's very dumb.
6 years of string.
And he just got a concussion.
They are 49th or 50th in education, Mary.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's a weird thing to say.
They're like 53rd in literacy. But he just took a 109-mile-per-hour fastball to the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He might have been concussed.
Right.
We can't count on this guy to be making solid analogies or metaphors or whatever the hell those are. How long's a piece of string, man? I'm seeing two of you right now. I need to get the hell out of here. He's a big boy, though. Alan, you have to consider the possibility that Bill's show is what gave Jenna her brain tumor. Now, you do have to consult that possibility. You have to at least consider the fact. Her mom said in the card that she sent
that they didn't
we
know.
don't know where it came from. We're completely flummoxed by the origin of that. So, in a world of possibilities, in every alternate universe, one of them has to contain Bill's comedy giving people brain tumors. Now, in no way do I want that to dissuade anyone from going to see him tomorrow night at Garage Bar.
Take the chance.
You got to live
You use
dangerously.
microwaves. You use your cell phone. Those things are all full of waves that they thought were bad for you. Come listen to my jokes. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna give you cancer. That's my tagline.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Live
Yeah.
comedy with Bill Squire. He doesn't think it'll give you cancer.
How was your show last night?
That's mine?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was so fun.
It looked great.
It was so.
I saw some pictures and stuff.
Yeah, Phil Rosenthal, who created Everybody Loves Raymond, and he's had this long-running food travel show on Netflix. It's called Somebody Feed Phil.
You should have brought him a Mr. Hero sub.
Well, one of the best lines of the night, I talked to him for about 40 minutes, and then we did a Q&A with the audience, and we had 2 microphones down below at the end of the aisles, and then we had like a handheld up in the balcony. And one guy in the balcony said, you've got to, while you're in town, because everybody was really flying the flag for Cleveland, as they should. I mean, I opened up basically asking him if he had made it over to the West Side Market, and he hadn't. But this guy up in the thing said, before you leave town, you have to try a Cleveland Polish boy. And of course, Phil Rosenthal's quick as a whip, and he's like, it's very easy to get canceled these days. I don't know that I don't want the headline to say Phil Rosenthal tries Cleveland Polish boy. And so, he got some good laughs off of that. But yeah, it was so much. I don't do many of those theater shows. I hadn't done one in quite some time. And so it was so fun. The crowd was awesome, and anybody who was there last night had a lot of fun. So anyway, he's just doing this tour because that show really, people were like very emotional, these Q&A people, because they're like, you got us through COVID and all this stuff. And, so it's like the biggest non-scripted show on Netflix is his food and travel. And he's just a nice guy. He's super quick and very funny and just super, super nice. So I just had a blast.
It's a really uplifting show. I
It
haven't
is,
seen it
yeah.
a bunch, but I've seen enough episodes that you just get pulled in because he is just a very happy guy and he's excited about everything. He's, watching Anthony Bourdain, he has a edge to him. Phil is just a silly goose.
Well, and that's kind of what I said to him. I said, a lot of these travel and cooking shows are done with chefs, and so there's a lot of inside baseball. There can be a lot of, they're sometimes dramatic. I said, especially Bourdain. You're not Phil Rosenthal's not the kind of guy that's going to get a chest tattoo with a tribe. You know what I mean? But
or pontificate about his days of heroin use and
right? Yeah,
the rough days of being a kitchen chef and everything. Yeah.
But I guess he absorbed Anthony Bourdain's production company for this. So he's like, I have the knowledge and abilities of all of these people, So he kind of acknowledged that he was on the shoulders of Anthony Bourdain in that. But yeah, no, it's a very entertaining show, and it was just so much fun to do. So
that's great.
If you went out last night, I hope you had a good time because it was a lot. It was supposed to be an hour 40. I think we did 2 hours and 5 minutes maybe.
Dang.
Got their money's worth.
And he's doing Pittsburgh tonight for our Pittsburgh listeners. If there are any tickets remaining, he's doing Pittsburgh and then he's doing Toronto, I think. But I think Cleveland might have been the second night of this leg because he did Columbus the night before, and then we did the State Theater last night. But it was a lot of fun. Alan, that guy said, "Kiss my boobo." He also has the plague. Well, is that the shorthand for the? That's for people that it's so common now that they're just they're trying to be hip about it. They're like, I got the bubo. Don't worry about that. Don't breathe near me. As long as a piece of string references not knowing. The string is of unknown length, somebody explains. Not knowing. As long as a piece of string not knowing. Yeah, but a piece of string is... Anything could be of unknown length. I mean, I know I'm overthinking this now, but I don't know.
Just say your whole life next time.
I've been my whole... Well, you got to be folksy, right? It's Louisiana. You got to be... That's just how people talk. My dad had a million. My dad was from Tupelo. He had a million kind of phrases. Fine as frog's hair. I use that all the time. That's one of my dad's. I love it. Fine as frog's hair. Dad, frogs don't have hair. Exactly. I got money for you. It's $1,000 from the Buzzard bookie. About 30 past every hour you get one of these, so don't squander it. Put it in your pocket. Squander. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Fun. That's fun. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
I was reading also that the world's oldest living baseball player, he doesn't currently play, Major League Baseball's oldest living player just turned 100. The previous record holder died recently, and so it popped this guy up. Art Shalek is a guy who was a 3-time World Series champ. He played for the Yankees. He played for the Baltimore Orioles, played alongside Mantle and DiMaggio and Yogi Berra and all those guys. Gesundheit.
Hey.
And he played baseball right out of high school, but then he went to go serve in World War II. And he came right back and started playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. It's got to be weird to be an old former athlete when the younger part of your years, you were like defined by being a physical specimen. And I know back then baseball players were in a different kind of shape than they are now. Babe Ruth was eating like a sampler platter before he'd go out there and do. These guys are all smoking cigars. Even in the 80s, right? Especially baseball players. Those guys weren't exactly taking great care of themselves. But to be 100 years old and you're surrounded by memorabilia of you as a young man with all of these physical accomplishments. And now you're alive, and that's great, but, he's living in like an assisted living care home. And you're just surrounded by all these memories of when you were out there kicking ass. And now you're so physically diminished, it's got to be strange. Because they put the Yankee jersey back on him and the hat. And, that's a wild life. I'd never heard of Art Shalek. Obviously, I haven't heard of 98% of the people who were playing baseball back then, beyond your Yogi Berras and your Ty Cobbs and stuff like that. But he was a pitcher for the Orioles, won 3 World Series with the Yankees. And when former St. Louis Browns outfielder George Elder died at 101, Art became the oldest living MLB player. When your name's Elder, it's got to be weird when you're young. Conversely, right? You kind of grow into that when you get to be 70.
Yeah,
they called you
people with the last name Young.
They called you Elder for a while. That must have felt weird as a young man in the Philippines.
Nah, it's just like one of those things that it loses meaning because you're just, it's a title. It's not, they're not calling me like, oh, old man. They're just like,
they're not?
What's up, Elder?
Oh. Yeah, but why Elder?
I don't know. It's what the
You don't know. This was your religion when you were a kid.
And they don't have a good explanation for it.
No,
other than that's the title.
Why is so little explained?
No, they don't have, because it's a scam.
Well, no. But every religion's a scam. What I'm saying is every religion has its lore and its fundamental beliefs.
It's in there. There's
Okay.
a reason they do it. It's just a title.
You don't know.
When
You didn't-
are
you didn't have to
missionary.
learn?
I'm sure I did at one point, but it's been 22 years.
I didn't know that was something you'd forget.
I forget everything.
Wow. Okay.
Which I forget, and then people will just be like, "Hey, you remember this?" I'm like, "Not at all. Not at all."
Really?
I don't. You said you remember very little from your childhood, right?
Well, true. But if somebody was like, "Hey, why did they call you that?" I'd be able to tell them.
You don't know that because you never got called it.
Well, no. I'm talking about like the religious stuff. I remember.
I mean, that's
all
the title
religious
of
stuff.
a full-time missionary. That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they call them, and that's why it's elder. There's no. It's just a.
This just says it's just a title.
Yeah.
Elders are ministers of Christ called upon to administer spiritual means. The term elder is also used as a title for missionaries.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, there's not a reason for it.
Right.
Well, I mean, there must be somewhere. They didn't just pull that word out of thin air. I mean,
It
you
just
sounds
says
official.
a person who's
Yeah.
valued for wisdom.
Yeah. It just,
Like, literally, there's no reason for it.
it just sounds,
Well, that's
makes
what
you sound more official as a missionary.
well, that's what if that's what they're going with, that's what I'm saying is like you'd refer to the town elder, right? But that was like a really old guy, and he was looked to for his age and his wisdom. I was curious why they would name teenage missionaries elder.
Not everything
I was
has
just
a
I was
reason.
just curious about what.
Not everything has a reason.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
And the
But
last thing you
literally
should try
everything
and
I know
do-
about LDS is from Bill. So it's like I don't know. I learned these things from him. So if he doesn't know, I remain ignorant.
But what I'm saying is that the last thing you should try to apply logic to is church.
right.
There's
Faith,
no
church,
reason. You just
learn
accept
it.
the fact that that's what those people are called. There's no
And-
reason for it. It
and-
doesn't make any sense.
That's how they do it. They go, well, you just have faith.
Well, no.
And then you explain everything away and be like, hey, what about all these facts over here? And they're like, nice try, Satan.
No, that's different, though. I understand all that. I'm saying there's a difference between you can't apply logic to faith, but you can apply logic to, like, here's why we have
It's
this title.
No,
you know?
what I'm
Marketing and
trying to say
title.
is that no, there is no logic.
Okay.
We call these people elders. Why? Because
No, I'm saying
Okay.
somebody at some point knew why.
I don't think.
And I was curious if they passed that down.
What I'm trying to tell you is that I don't think that that's
It's
true.
just the title they
Really?
give
I think
missionaries.
it's just an arbitrary title to differentiate you.
Yeah.
So
because you're not supposed to call each other by your first names. It's more, if anything, it's just more ways of brainwashing and conditioning and just kind of massaging you into
Removing the individuality.
exactly.
So when you guys were sitting around kicking it in the Philippines, would you call each other elder?
Yeah,
You wouldn't call like, hey,
we weren't
Tim.
even supposed to call each other just like by our last names. Like you weren't supposed to be like Squire or Coble or whatever. You were supposed to say elder, Squire, elder, Coble. Like,
Oh,
and
so
keep
you-
it very formal all the time.
Even in like in private company, like you
Yeah.
guys were in, you wouldn't say, hey, Tim, hey, Bill.
No, no.
You'd
I
say
didn't-
elder Squire.
right. Well, that's one of the bits
They'd
that
call
I
you
have
that.
is I go, I tell a story about doing something at a strip club, and the two missionaries that were with me looked at each other and go, we didn't know Bill was so hardcore, except they didn't call me Bill, they called me Elder Squire because rules are rules.
We didn't know elder Squire
I mean,
was so hardcore.
a lot of guys I didn't even know their first names. I just know their last names.
Really?
Yeah.
So these weren't people you knew ahead of time.
No.
It's just people from.
I didn't know
you,
a single person.
You came from Medina. Another guy could have come from Portland.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
They're all over the world.
You were
There's
all
people. There's people from all over the United States. People from like American Samoa and Tonga. There were.
And
people
how
from
many
New
people in your
Zealand.
group?
So in the total mission, I think there was 200 missionaries, and then we get broken down into different zones, and there's about 14 to 20 per zone, and then within the zones there's also districts, and there's about
Wait, you're talking about
6.
200 in the Philippines?
no in the mission in the Philippines that I was in.
Right, 200 total.
Right? No. Because within the Philippines there was a mission is an area that you do your proselyting.
Okay.
And they're all divided up into other areas. So within the Philippines, there were thousands of missionaries
Wow.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Philippines aren't that big.
Yeah, well,
They were really trying to carpet bomb that joint, weren't they?
but it's really
With the
densely
Lord.
populated. Yeah. So,
yeah, that's true.
so when you go to, like I was in Quezon City, there was another mission in Manila. There was just I think there was 13 missions within the Philippines.
And the Philippines are
Alone.
like an uber Muslim country.
No,
What am I thinking? Of?
Catholic.
What am I thinking? Oh,
Well, they have a large Muslim population in the southern provinces,
okay.
but we didn't go there because they would kill people.
Maybe I'm thinking of Indonesia. Kill
They would
people.
kill missionaries or just people in general?
Christians, missionaries, anybody that they saw as a threat.
Anybody who looked like they
Yeah.
were asking for it.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Anybody trying to bring the Lord
they'd,
into the...
yeah, but the overall, like the main religion in the Philippines is Catholicism.
Okay.
But yeah, there's about 200 of us in the Quezon City mission, and I worked as a district leader and zone leader at times, even when I was most disobedient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good time.
All right. Okay, I've got to take a break here. I'll have last pair of tickets for you this week. If you're into, what was that? If you're into the band A Day to Remember, I will have those tickets for you. They are on their least anticipated album.